Okay, so now I know how to do it so it links. Can we just delete this one for tonight? Let's see if it's let's do this one for next week. First, 7 p.m. I'm gonna schedule it on this one as well. There we go. Okay, hey everybody, I'm just getting the stream set up and we'll go ahead and get started here in just a second. Thanks very much for joining in. I will be doing a little garden tour, show you what's growing, and just kind of chat and catch up. No, I didn't mean to do that. I still need to sign up there. I was trying to link this to my live stream on YouTube that I had scheduled, but I'm using a different streaming software, so although it's streaming to YouTube, I'm not on YouTube itself right now. So just trying something out. Gets a little bit tricky, but hopefully this new streaming software should be more stable. So perfect. Okay, now it linked to there. Let me just pull the stream up in here so that I can mod if needed. And I'm gonna turn sound off on here. There we go. No? Still no. Hey Edwin! Nice to see you. How are you doing? Hey Edwin! Okay, now you're hearing duplicates. Sorry. Okay. Now we got that volume off and we should be good to go here. Okay. All right. So how's everybody doing? Are we ready to see a garden tour? And why is it not showing me my chat on here? There we go. Okay. Beautiful. And we're gonna turn this cooler on so it keeps our phone nice and cool while we stream. Sit here for a few minutes and let it get cool, and then I will take you and show you the garden. I did a test stream last night with this and it seemed to be okay. Is everything okay on you guys' end? I'm not wearing my external mic tonight, so just let me know if like sound or video lags while I get used to kind of using this new streaming software. But let's go on a tour here and show you what's growing. I'm gonna flip around. Okay, these are my tiny little chives. In here, I've got some sugar baby watermelon seeds. I just planted those yesterday, so those will take a little bit before they get up and going. Here is our green bell pepper plant. We had to bring her inside. She was languishing in the heat. She decided she did not like all that sunshine all day long out there. But she's got a number of buds coming, so we should have plants there soon. These are my sweet potatoes. They are growing fantastically. This was one of my experiments that I had done. If you guys remember, a while back, I was researching different ways to plant sweet potatoes. And I was like, you know what, with my disabilities, I try to just do things as simply as possible. So all that I did is cut a big sweet potato in half and plunked it in here, and then I had a couple ends off of a grocery store sweet potato, and I plunked everything in dirt and just kept it watered, and I was literally just getting ready to call the experiment a failure when these started popping up. And now that these slips have started popping up, they just keep growing and growing. Come back next week for our live stream, and I'm sure you will see that the growth has exploded. She's gonna go outside in a couple days, but my dog had broken off one of the slips here when he was kind of nosing around and sniffing. So I had popped that into some water, let it root, and I just got it replanted back in the soil yesterday. So I want to give it a few days to actually firmly root in that soil before I move this one outside, because we are heading into kind of our rainy season here in Florida. We are in a massive drought, and we are just now kind of getting to the end of like our dry weather season, and we're moving into our rainy season, which basically means we can start expecting thunder showers or storms or rain of some sort almost every day. And some of those can get kind of torrential. So I want to make sure she's got a good hold on her roots before we put her out here, because some of these things out here can really take a hit from the downpour. So these are my garlic cloves. Obviously you can see they are growing phenomenally. These are the strawberry plants. I did Sweet Charlie strawberries. I am not expecting these to fruit right now. I am actually hoping to get runners so that I can plant those again for our next strawberry season. And you'll see I've got some other strawberry plants in the raised bed. These are our jalapeno and habanero seedlings. They are doing fantastic. I can't wait to get them put in the raised bed. They are about ready to be transplanted. These ones, let's see, these are the jalapenos. They're growing a little bit quicker than the habaneros. I would give the habaneros probably another week or two before I transplant them. These we planted earlier it's Sunday. So we planted these last week. These are beans. We planted red beans and black beans. This was an experiment that was 100% successful. We literally took a bag of grocery store red beans and grocery store black beans. We soaked them overnight, and we planted a bunch of them the next day, and they are doing phenomenally. I got 100% germination rates. So if you guys are looking for a great food source or just something fun to plant that will reward you quickly, that's a great inexpensive idea, and beans are fantastic for our health. So that I'm super pleased with. That was really fun to try. These are the tomato seedlings that I have from the Great Tomato Experiment. They are growing, doing well. This is just my pit of soil right now, but this will eventually be another raised bed once we have a little bit more funds to purchase soil, and I've got some seedlings that will pop in there once we do that. There's not a whole lot to show here, but I'll let you know I did plant Everglades tomato seeds in these two pots. I have ginger in this pot. This is going to be our third round of green beans that just got planted a couple days ago. So those should sprout pretty shortly. I find good success with green beans sprouting quickly. Speaking of green beans, here is green bean round number 2. So I've got these going, and then I planted the other seeds about a week or two later for succession planting. So as these vines start kind of petering out and are done producing, the next ones will be producing, because I love green beans, especially fresh ones. This tall girl here, I have to step way back here. This is one of our tomato plants. She is an indeterminate tomato, which means they can grow quite high. I actually had to top her. One of my readers or one of my watchers had actually suggested that. They were like, hey, I don't know if you know about topping, but that might be helpful for some of your plants. And indeed it was, because as soon as I topped her, she really started pushing out more flower buds. So we've got like a lot of clusters on here now. So I'm excited to see her start producing. This one is a husky red cherry tomato. So these will be small tomatoes once it starts pushing out fruit. This is another bell pepper plant. This one is going to be a red bell pepper, and she is growing phenomenally. I'm so sorry, my neighbors are out, so their little child is super excited and exuberant right now. But yeah, she's doing great out here. She's loving the heat and the sunshine, whereas the other pepper plant that we got at the same time, planted the same exact way, is not. So, plants are just really individual, just like us humans are. Some can deal with the heat, some can't. This, I saw that little bit of lag there, so let me know if you guys have any lag. I'm moving a little bit away from our house right now, so the signal might change a little bit. It looks pretty good on my end, yeah. But yeah, these are our zucchini plants. I have 2 plants in this bucket that I just did in a 5-gallon bucket, and these are doing great. She's got a ton of blossoms down in there, and there's a ton down in here too. They're a little bit hard to see, but we should have some blossoms opening up within this next week. This is our other tomato plant that we bought as a start from Big Box Store. This is a Bush Goliath. So this is a bush type tomato. It doesn't get real tall like that other one does. Instead, it kind of is more like a bush. So, it's got more leaves and things like that. But this should put out like some moderately sized slicing tomatoes for us once it gets going. And this is our raised bed. If you guys remember, I think I showed this to you last week, but we had just assembled it, I think, and put dirt in it. We may or may not have even planted anything at that point, but we have got her completely planted out. This was actually donated to us. This was a gift from one of our neighbors' moms, who kind of saw what we were doing with our container garden and was really excited for us. She had this kind of sitting around and wasn't using it. She's like, "Hey, would you guys like this?" I was like, "Absolutely, and we'd be happy to bless you right back with some produce if and when we actually grow anything." So we've got this planted with quite a bit. There is some stuff starting to pop up already. This was one of our strawberry plants that we just redid in here to see how it would grow in the raised bed. These nice leafy greens that you see, these are actually Seminole pumpkins. These are a great butternut squash substitute for us here in Florida, where the fungus and the pests would normally get to our butternut squash. These are native to here and they do a lot better, and these are kind of growing like crazy already. We got our first true leaves coming out. You can see they're squash leaves similar to these, just a lot smaller. We've got a full-on herb garden planted in here. We've got cilantro, basil, rosemary, garlic chives, thyme, parsley, oregano, sage, and in the middle here is microgreens. Microgreens sprout really fast. You're looking at like 7 to 10 days for a harvest. And since we planted this out, I think it was sometime this past week. I don't know, maybe just a week ago. But you can see they're already popping up and getting ready to harvest. I might let them grow bigger. Depends if we have anything. You can see this is where we planted our thyme. So we've got tons of little plants coming up in there. Let's see. We've got basil coming up here. Oh, and I see something new for today. Let's see. I see new little sprouts here. This is probably cilantro that's sprouting up right here. These that you see, these are zinnia seedlings. We planted a bunch of zinnias in the back here. You can kind of see them. Those will be nice for cut flowers. And then we also did a border of marigolds. Not necessarily because I love marigolds, but they are fantastic for natural pest protection. So we actually kind of did like a light scattering all the way around the outside of our bed. Just to, again, it'll help with pollinators and it will help with natural pest protection. I don't know, maybe they give off a scent or something that certain things don't like, but we do have marigolds sprouting up. I think these are marigolds anyways. We also planted nasturtiums. which are another flower in the front of the bed, both for beauty, for pollinators, but also because they're edible. You can eat their flowers in salads, put them on sandwiches, put them in drinks. It'd be really pretty for like an event to kind of freeze a flower in each ice cube if you have ice cube trays and you're getting together with some friends for the summer. But you can do all kinds of things with them. Plus they're just pretty and help out the pollinators. That's about it for now. I also have yellow squash seeds that are on the way. So I will be planting those as soon as they arrive. They were supposed to be here yesterday. I have my containers ready and was excited to start those, but those are delayed. So that'll be something I'll be planting this week. And like I said, as soon as I have the funds for it, we're kind of out of our gardening budget right now, we'll be filling this bed, and then this will become another raised bed. So some of these things like the beans and the peppers that are all eventually going to need their own space. I could grow like 1 or 2 pepper plants. This is a 10-gallon container, but not all 8 of them. And then here, I think we've got like 12 bean plants coming up. So those are these are all bush beans, by the way. These are not pole beans. So they'll be much more compact and smaller, similar to like the bush tomato versus the indeterminate tomato, which climbs. So those won't really need a ton of like space to climb, but they will need a little bit more space than what they're in. So we'll probably do some beans and peppers in here. I don't know. I need to look that up and make sure they are okay to grow together. But that's what we have growing right now. And obviously I told you my plans for this week are to plant some yellow squash, and then we'll kind of go from there. I've got a long wish list. End of July, beginning of August is actually when it will be time to start planting our warm weather crops again. So we've got weird seasons here in Florida. We've got a warm weather crop season that we would want to be starting seedlings for at the very beginning of the year while it's still kind of cold here, so that those are ready to go. And then oh for goodness sakes, let's see. He's making charades at me. He's like, "You have a booger." It's my partner. Okay, now go away so I can focus. He's got the dogs and him all standing at the sliding door here. I put a sign up like live streaming. And still he was like standing there gesturing at me, and I'm like, "What?" Okay. Okay, so seasons here in Florida. Let me get this plugged back into the cooler so it can cool down, and then hopefully we won't have delays in our video feed. So our seasons here in Florida, in the beginning of the year, when it would be, like, I'm from Pennsylvania. We've talked about that before. Obviously, we're not really growing anything in winter, in the northeast of the United States. But that is actually a great growing season for us down here. Things that do well over the winter here are things like lettuces, other greens, brassicas, some like early peas, like picking peas, snapping peas, things like that. So those, will definitely be growing during that season. Then we have our warm weather crops, which is when probably most people think of as like their traditional flower and vegetable planting season. And that's when we would do our normal things. I am kind of, my plants are hopefully going into production soon for that. So those are things like, your peppers, your tomatoes, your traditional vegetables, your squash, all that kind of stuff. Our season for that is winding down, and we are actually heading into our hot weather season. Hot weather season here in Florida is very similar to winter in the north. Not a whole lot of things grow well. There are a few things that do, and then other people choose to do like cover crops and things like that, and kind of let their garden go to rest during this season. Between our heat and humidity, pest pressure, fungus and diseases, things like that, a lot of things don't do well. I do have some things planted that are known to do well during that season, which are things like Everglades tomatoes, Seminole pumpkins. Those are like real good things. Other things that would do well, I don't really have growing yet. So I know a lot of people talk about cranberry hibiscus, which grows these beautiful pink flowers and then these maroon colored leaves. And those can be, I'm told they're kind of lemony. You can pick them for greens or use them in tea. Something called roselle, which can be used as almost like a cranberry substitute to make like cranberry filling and relish here in Florida. That is something that maybe I'll try those two things during our next hot season, which will be next summer. But like I said, other than those things, there's just a lot that's going to languish in the heat. I'm not really sure how my herbs are going to do. We may have to like replant them once our hot weather season is over and we have another warm season. So, sweet potatoes. That's the other thing that does really well here. They love the Florida heat and the sunshine. So I have those going as well. But basically by the end of July, beginning of August, we're going to be seed starting again for all of those like traditional warm weather crops. So, we'll do another round of tomatoes. We'll do another round of peppers. We'll do our beans again, more like pole bean type thing, like the green beans. So all of like your traditional crops will get ready to plant again. And then when it cools down here and, we're talking, fall time, getting ready to head into winter, that's when we'll plant out all of our brassicas and lettuces and greens and peas and things like that. So anybody have any questions or want to talk about anything that they are growing? I'm just going to check in on the YouTube app real quick here. Here we go. Okay. Probably do another quick garden tour towards the end because I know some people pop in towards the end of my time frame and I don't want them to miss out on all the good stuff. Get to see what's growing and whatnot. Kind of muggy out here today, kind of humid, not much of a breeze, so I've got my little fan going just to try to help keep cool. Maters and taters. Yep. That's my partner in the chat. He's not just here to remind me about my boogers. Sorry, it's just nice to sit for a minute and not be walking around chatting. I'm getting like a headache every time I stand up and walk, which happens often with my pots. So it's nice just to kind of sit and cool down a little bit. There was a topic I wanted to talk about today. Let's see. Last week we talked about some options for gardening when your budget's low. We were talking about different things that might prevent people from gardening, and budget was our topic last week. So to sum it up, we talked about how gardening doesn't have to be expensive. Everybody can do it. If you've got challenges, let's talk about it. Pop it in the chat and tell me what it is, and let's brainstorm some options for you. Whether it's a sunny window that you have to grow in, or just a pot of something, or you throw some seeds that you collected, or you repot some grocery store stuff. There's all kinds of options there. Seed libraries are sometimes at your local library for free seeds. Sometimes if somebody else has some seeds, but maybe they can't plant a garden this year, maybe one of your neighbors will give you some seeds and be like, hey, I'll give you the seeds for free. You give me some of the produce back when it fruits. But there's all kinds of options to work around budgeting. If you guys were with me for that first garden tour, you can see when I'm seed starting, I'm reusing containers that we have. So as I mentioned, our community doesn't recycle, which really bothers me. So I work on finding other uses for those containers, so they're not just going to waste. And one of those is seed starting, or if I need to up pot something, it's not ready for the big garden yet, but it needs to go from a little seed tray into a bigger container. I'm cutting the tops off of soda bottles and planting in that, or our 32-ounce yogurt containers, washing those out and planting in that, and things like that. Those are perfect size for up potting something from a seed starting tray. So I just pop a couple holes in the bottom of it for drainage, and there you go. I know another challenge for a lot of people is what if you're disabled? I am, and there's days I can't stand or walk around, and I have a gel cushion that I'll literally carry with me and just set it out there and plop my butt on the ground and scooch around on it as I need to tend to things. So if I'm pruning something or watering something, I can sit there and do that. I sit while I seed start. So that's definitely an option for people. Again, other people who maybe are just low energy for various reasons. Maybe you have a chronic illness that takes some of your energy away. Maybe you're just a really tired person. Maybe you're lazy and you just don't have a lot of energy, There's all kinds of ways you can get around that. You can do chaos gardening where, you literally just scatter seed packets and see what happens, and let the earth water it and let it get whatever nutrition it can from the soil. And people have been very successful in that. We get volunteer plants all the time that pop up from, maybe a bird was feeding at somebody's bird feeder and flew over us and dropped some seeds or pooped out some seeds or whatever. And those, people have all kinds of stuff come up that way. Tomato plants, sunflowers are a big one. If anybody's ever put a bird feeder out that's got a heavy sunflower mix, underneath those sunflowers sometimes pop up. So if you don't have a lot of energy, maybe chaos gardening's for you, or just kind of finding ways to work around it like I do, where you're sitting for a good portion of it, or, I get overheated very easily. I can't maintain my temperature, so I've got the fan out here. I've got an ice vest that I can wear. I generally try to do my gardening. Sometimes I'm up early in the morning if I've had insomnia the night before, so I'll pop out while it's still very cool outside, or I'll do it after sunset. That's why I schedule my live streams for 7 p.m. because y'all know it gets hot here in Florida, and I'm not trying to be sitting out here in the blazing sun in the middle of the day. So, just kind of finding ways around it and working with what your body's telling you, but you can still be growing food. I am sure people would gladly, help plant or harvest in exchange for a little bit of produce when it's time to get going. So sometimes you plant more than you can use, and getting some help in there and being able to gift a neighbor with some fresh produce, I'm sure would be very appreciated. Our neighbors are actually going to help eat our harvest with us, and we'll share with their mom, since the mom donated the bed to us. We've also got some family members that are more than happy to take any extra produce. I'm not really set up for any method of preserving at this point in time. I did have a canning set up. I think I'm going to get that back, and we'll have to buy some jars and probably start canning later, but again, that'll wait on funds. I don't have a dehydrator, but I have been looking on Facebook Marketplace and have found some good deals. So maybe once I do get some funds in, that might be something I'll try. But I feel like in the meantime, you can kind of try it, in the oven on like super low, just on trays. Sorry, now my daughter has chosen this time to vacuum, so she's right on the other side of the lanai doors here. So, sorry, maybe the external mics might be a good solution for that next time, but I have to try to set those up with this streaming service that I'm using right now. So hopefully the streams will keep improving in quality and content as I learn more about them, but this one does seem to be working a lot better than YouTube. It's not really crashing at all. I'm trying to get set up so I can simultaneously live stream to Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I do have people that don't have YouTube or don't really watch YouTube, like family members, and they would like to be following along on the journey. So that'll be something that I'm going to be trying to simultaneously live stream to Facebook next week. And my Twitch account, I actually have to update my iOS before I can live stream to that, and I don't have enough space. So I need to offload a lot of pictures and videos off my phone in order to update my iOS so that I can then set the stream up to also live stream to Twitch. So what's something else I wanted to show you guys? And I was debating about whether or not I needed to water my garden today because we were supposed to have storms, but every time I look at the radar, it seems like it's around us, but not right here. So I will probably take you guys back out in the garden with me while I do some watering of anything that, really looks like it needs it. And I'll show you my watering setup too for anybody that hasn't seen it yet, because we have no spigot out here, no hose connections at all. We live in an apartment, so the entire back of the apartment has no water connections. So one of my first things I needed to troubleshoot was, how do I get water? Because carrying buckets from inside was not going to work for me and my health. So we actually got 5-gallon buckets and set them up underneath a few of the drain spouts outside, and they collect rainwater. And they are all full right now because we had a torrential downpour yesterday or the day before, maybe both, I don't really remember. And then I bought a $20 hose off Amazon that has like a nice little filter on one end, and all you do is drop that end of the hose in the bucket, and then the other end has like a sprayer on it with like all kinds of detachable heads. So I am literally able to drop that hose in any one of the rain barrel buckets and then just water my garden from there. Once the buckets get down a little bit, by like half or so, then I myself am able to move them and can kind of move them, around. So I'll usually put one in here on the lanai so that I have a water source for anything that I'm growing in here. And then I'll have a couple, stationed different places out in the yard portion so that I don't have to move them around all that much, because that's a little difficult. So I'm just going to sit here for a couple more minutes, and then we'll go back out in the garden and water them. Haven't really yet figured out how to garden from bed, but if somebody figures that out, let me know. I guess I could get pretty close if I put a hammock out here, right? I could water my garden from the hammock. Our neighbors and us kind of have we've talked and want to kind of make it a neat community hangout space back here. And so far, nobody in the apartment has told us no or stop that, or, I feel like everything we've done so far is very easily movable or removed once we leave. There really isn't any substantial landscaping at all back here, and we're not really growing grass well because we've got these Florida pine trees that sit right outside of our door. They drop their natural mulch all over, and because of the tree growth that we have back here, our portion of the yard is rather shaded, which is why we chose to put the raised bed in front of our neighbor's unit instead, because it gets more sunshine. So I guess our space might be a cool space to put like some hammocks under, or just something to make it like a little fun. And if the upstairs neighbors want to come down and hang out in the space, or help us pick food and take some home, like that'd be cool too. So, but really just trying to form a little community space. We do have some community amenities, but they're up towards the front of the apartment complex, and it's like half a mile to get up there, which is tough for me walking sometimes. So having a close space right outside of our door to kind of hang out and socialize with neighbors is also really nice. So I'm excited not only for what we are blessed with currently, but for the ability to build a space for more community as well, and helping to feed our community. So I'm going to turn you around, and we will go water our garden. Let's go see what looks like it might need a little water before any potential storms. The garlic looks nice and wet yet. I feel like these strawberries are probably going to be good. Yeah, that's nice and cool and damp. That one, probably by tomorrow, we'll need. These look good yet. These look good. Those look good. So it might just be like some of these little, where I started the seeds, those will need some more water. Let's see how this one's doing. That's super wet yet. I watered this pepper plant and the squash yesterday. Those are probably good. I think we just need to do a couple of those seeds and the raised bed. So, as I was mentioning, the water setup. So, super simple. Just a rain bucket under the gutters, and we've got a couple more down there. So, right now I've got 15 gallons of water available to me, where I otherwise would not have had a hose hookup. And then I just dunked that filter end in there, and I've got my nice little sprayer wand here. And it's a easy and relatively inexpensive solution for what could have been a problem that prevented me from gardening back here. So, did that come out? It sure did. All right, I'm gonna put my lid on top to help hold this in here. Sorry. I will bring you guys back to focus here soon. All right, there we go. Sometimes the end of the filter likes to pop out of the buckets unless I put a lid on top of it, keeping it in place. So there we go. These Florida days, there's been a couple days that I almost would have had to water like the raised bed twice a day, but then I ended up showering later on, so I didn't have to. But that's the biggest thing when I first get up. Once I use the restroom, I just take a quick peek at everything and like, is it languishing in the heat already? Do I need to get out there and water, or do I have time for like taking my meds and a cup of coffee first? Some days I have to come straight out. All right. Normally, if this bucket wasn't so full, I'd have it out here and then this wouldn't fall out. But that's not an option today with it as full as it is, so. My Everglades tomato plants are going to actually go right there at the base of the fence. I'm probably just going to plant them in ground and add like a couple bags of soil to what's there. And then hopefully those will reseed themselves and come back year after year. I have more seeds if I need to plant them again next year. I'm really, really hoping the ones I planted germinate. But if they don't, if I don't see anything in like another week, I'll probably just end up replanting those. Because I really, really want tomato plants that do well in our summer heat. And that's one of the few. They're like currant sized tomatoes. Sometimes they can get up to like cherry sized. Supposedly they're like super sweet. Did that come out again? Nope, it didn't. Okay. The hose is a little bit tangled, so that might be why we're having some issues. I'm gonna set you guys down for a second. Sorry. Good news is we're running down that bucket already, so after I water maybe tomorrow if it needs it, then I should be able to move that around a little easier. I'm super excited for this zucchini to start putting out blossoms. I really want to try squash blossoms this year. I've never had them before, and that would be something fun and new to be able to try before we get the zucchinis. I'm assuming they'll still continue to grow okay. We'll see. I'll research it more before I do that. Yeah, there's like a really nice row of zinnias coming in. I'll show you guys when I'm done here. I'm so excited for them. They're so pretty. We don't have many pollinators back here because there's really just not a lot growing for them. So I am excited to work on that. I kind of have a dream for like multiple raised garden beds back here and having like some nice pathways between them, either like mulch or initially I was thinking mulch, but I'm kind of thinking about planting clover instead. I don't know how well it'll grow back here though. There's really not much that like grows back here. We get like, different wild stuff growing. I would say weeds, but I know a lot of it's not weeds, it's just wild stuff. And then we've got like super patchy grass, which is just annoying, and I'd rather not have it because it doesn't do anything, doesn't grow well back here. So having something that would actually help feed our pollinators and look pretty, I think like green clover would look really nice in between the beds. Okay, yeah, that's definitely a cilantro plant coming up there. Cool. All right, I feel like that's nice and watered. And then I'll just take that hose into the lanai so it doesn't go missing or get chewed on by some of the wildlife we have around here at night. So let's see. I can see cilantro coming up right there. These are the zinnias, and as I was looking, there's a nice row of those seedlings all coming up here. Then we got, it looks like some more marigolds popping up back here because these look like the same leaf shape that we've got in front. These are like more a pointed leaf shape, where these are round. The zinnia leaves tend to be round like that. This one in the front is more pointed, so that's a marigold. This one's probably a marigold, and this one, I don't know. I guess they could be nasturtiums too, but these look the same as the seedlings in the back, and we planted marigolds all the way around, which is what leads me to think that they're marigolds. I wonder if any of our nasturtiums will come up. I guess we'll see. But yeah, let's see. So the thyme is definitely popping. I thought I had seen some rosemary plants, but maybe No, I think what I had been seeing was these, which are probably zinnias. The rosemary plant should be over here, but lots of basil. The microgreens are doing fantastic. And I've got seeds for most of it again, so if anything like doesn't come up, we can just replant, no big deal. So even when I did the herb garden in like the dollar store knockoff green stalk containers, not everything, actually everything did grow except for mint. Mint was the only thing I have not been able to grow from seed. I did plant it in a separate container for around 2 or 3, and I got it to germinate, but not much past that. So I'm just gonna probably buy a mint plant and do that in a separate pot, because otherwise it'll take over this whole raised bed, and we don't want that. But I'll be excited to show you guys this next week, because I am sure it will look a little different by next week. You know, these pumpkins are literally getting bigger by the day. The plan for those is literally to just let them spill over the sides and vine. If I can get a trellis or something for them to kind of climb in the meantime, then we'll probably put a small trellis there and here so that they can do that. Otherwise, that's why we planted them in the edge of the bed, so they can just kind of spill over and ramble. Their vines can get up to like 20 feet long. So we'll have a little pumpkin patch here this year. It should be super cute. We talked about taking pictures of like my neighbor friend's baby. He's got like a little pumpkin-y outfit. She wants to put him in the pumpkin, and I was like, oh, we should do that in the pumpkin patch this year. That'll be so much fun. So yeah, everything's coming along well, as it should. So I seriously cannot get over how fast these beans grew. Like, every time I looked outside, even throughout the same day, they were changing and growing. And, you know, I'd come out and look, and, you know, one morning there's 3 plants, and by afternoon there's 6, and by evening there's 9. And, like, next day they were all up. I was like, holy cow. I really did not. I would have been happy if we got, like, 1 of each plant. Because, again, these were, like, grocery store beans. Just a bag of black beans and a bag of red beans, and literally we had 100% germination. So seriously, try it. I love how pretty, I don't know if you can see it, but the black bean seedlings here almost look like purple right now. It's so beautiful. You can see like all their little bean where they split. Just find the way beans grow so fascinating. It's why when I did my first bean planting, I did it inside a glass container so that I could actually watch it germinate throughout its process, because it's just so fascinating to me. Like, I've never really grown food before, so I find the whole thing really interesting and amusing to me. My sweet potatoes, I found this girl all wrapped around the pepper plant cage earlier today. I had to unwind it. I was like, we'll put you outside maybe tomorrow and give you something to climb, because she's ready. But those vines will end up taking over. This whole container will be filled, and the vines will spill over everywhere and get really crazy and beautiful, and it's really cool. I love it. It's got purple. We've got purple foliage. It's got purple foliage, like when some of these come out new. The little nubs, those are the ones that are growing purple foliage, and it does change to green as they grow. But my goodness, like how pretty is that? I'm so excited to see that like spilling over everywhere. Oh, yes, I pulled it off the pepper plant. I didn't want them getting intertwined, since we plan on moving the sweet potatoes outside. That other pepper plant was like, no, I'm an indoor girl. And I feel ya. Me too. All right. That was interesting. I wonder what happened there. Put you guys back into the cooler. Feels good to sit again. Bring in my little fan here. So, I will do this. I can type from the laptop. I know all I did was walk around out there and do a little watering, but that was enough to kind of tucker me out a little bit. But I was doing like chores inside earlier today, and do a little bit, sit a little bit, do a little bit, rest a little bit, that kind of thing. So I'm a little bit tuckered out. That, and I had to come out here and sweep this lanai off. I think I'm going to scrub the floor out here as well. Not today, but make sure that gets done. Most of what we have growing out there was once upon a time growing in here. And my wet buggy. But now that we have most of the plants put back outside, I figured now would be a good time to like kind of reset in here, get the floor scrubbed again, all that, because I don't really have to start any big seed starting or anything for another month and a half. Oh yeah, I want to scrub the floor out here again, not tonight, but now that we got most of the, I thought we'd have all the plants out once we can put the pepper plant, or once we can put the sweet potatoes, but apparently it's, Big Bertha's gonna live in here on the lanai, so. But other than that, I figured it'd be a good time to kind of get the floor nice and clean again, and I don't know, maybe we go to the nursery when we have a little bit of funds and get some pretty flowers for in here. That might be nice. I know during planting season it's more functional than pretty, and I'm totally fine with that. But I also like having periods of time where it's pretty. Smell cigarette smoke now. Somebody is smoking. Which is going to anger my lungs. It's a good thing I planned on taking neb treatments and doing lung clearing, because they would just be angry all over again if I had just done that. Got a few more minutes left in the stream. I'm so happy. This worked out so much better than on YouTube. I don't see him though. Could be. think somebody down the way, like maybe either on the other end of us or upstairs or something. I think they smoke. Because I do smell it, but very occasionally. I don't usually smell cigarette smoke often. Which is good. That would make it impossible for me to be out here. Okie dokie. Well, at this point, Bug, it looks like it's probably just you and me watching. So, for anybody watching on playback, I hope you enjoyed the stream and the garden tours. I hope you found something useful in some of the information that we talked about today. If you have any questions, you can absolutely post them in the chat. I will, the post video chat, that is, and I will absolutely respond to those. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. When I'm feeling up to it, I do post shorts on YouTube Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I will definitely plan to do a live stream next Sunday at 7, so I hope you come back for that. I will be excited to be able to show you all the updates, and we'll see how the garden grows. Thank you so much for everybody that joined in, that chatted, and that is following along on the journey. I'm just really I'm really excited to be able to do this, even with my disability, even with a limited budget. It's just so exciting to be able to put seeds in the ground and be able to grow some food for our family. And I hope if you're not growing, that you will start and you'll come along on the journey and we can share and chat and troubleshoot together. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a good rest of the day wherever you're watching from. And I will see you later this week and next Sunday for a live stream. Bye-bye.